to what, a year ago?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we got a full house today.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we're at 6:30. Okay. All right, we will call the meeting to order at 6:30. We can do a roll call, please.
Stephen.
Here.
Martha.
Carol.
Carol.
Here?
Tim.
Here?
Martha. Aubrey.
Here.
And Eric.
Eric.
All right. Great. All right. Agenda item number 2, we will consider approval of the minutes for 9/19/2024, the Parks and Forestry Board meeting. Everybody wants to review that. Make sure it looks good. Everybody good with the minutes?
I move that they're taken as written.
All right, we have movement. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Let's go ahead and vote on it. All aye?
Aye.
Any nay? No nay? That'll be 4-0 with a 1 abstention. Okay. Agenda item number 3, public comments, announcements, and recognitions. So if we have anybody from the public that would like to speak right now, present anything, now's the time.
Or forever hold your peace.
Right.
I have something to say. First of all, thank you guys for letting me come here. It's an awesome time to get to speak to y'all. The Parks Board, this is awesome. I think I've seen you at Hoboken quite
Quite a few times, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea you did this. That's
Can you
This is my
say
first
his
time.
name and
Yeah.
stuff?
And can we get your name?
yeah. I'm Ben Roberts,
Okay.
and I'll be presenting the Pickleball Guthrie Court renovation petition. So, over the past 6 months or so, we've been playing pickleball consistently at Mineral Wells, and it's been awesome, but the nets and the courts are just kind of insufficient, and they're not able to provide everyone with a safe playing environment. There's 4 courts, and I was kind of thinking about this tonight. You can only really fit about 2 teams playing at the same time, or everyone will be running into each other, because there's not enough distance between 2 courts playing parallel to each other or perpendicular. But anyways, I think that Guthrie, as it's growing, it's a great town. People are realizing that with the Guthrie Pickleball Club, it's continued to grow just as much. And I think if it continues to grow, it's already, I think, it's a great court, great park, but I don't think it's going to be sufficient to handle as many people as pickleball is seeing. I mean, I believe it's the fastest growing sport right now in the United States.
It
and
is.
everyone in the dog wants to do it. I mean, you have people old, people young. We got my fiance here just got engaged, so
I like the way he dropped it.
She's one of the young ones.
I like that,
One of
Lauren.
the young ones.
one of the young ones,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think if we were able to maybe find a better solution that's more permanent, so where we could have a safe and a more realistic playing environment, because we have nets that aren't necessarily regulation level, and it's still, like I said, awesome courts, great place, but it's not a realistic playing experience for new players and players who've played a lot. So yeah, Jan, did you have anything you'd like to say?
Sure. I'm Jan Glasgow, so I'm one of the pickleball guys and heavy park users. And the one thing about the park is that it's got a lot of cracks in it, and we kind of live around it. But here just a couple weeks ago, I mean, Lauren tripped on it and almost fell. I'm like, uh-oh. I mean, they continue to move with the water, and the more time that it freezes up, it's just going to continue to get worse. And so, and then the rebar that they use for their post out in the middle, those are, man, when you're playing at the kitchen, you do a lot of running towards the net, and it's easy to fall into the net and get tripped up. And man, I would hate for someone to get impaled on the rebar. It's just a little dangerous. It's not real safe. I mean, it's working, everything's working out. Like you said, when we're playing back to back, you get these big guys behind you, and you hear them. I mean, we're only just a feet apart, and if they're back swinging while you're right there, you know, you just cringe and, you know, sit in a prayer, don't let them hit me, you know. So there's some improvements to be done there, and it is a big draw at the park. I would say at that Mineral Wells Park, that's one of the busiest places in the park now, is that pickleball courts. It's getting heavy use, which is great. I mean, it's a fun sport. So the idea of you guys trying to work it into your budget where you can maybe, you know, repair it, it's probably going to take a tear out to do it right and rebuild it back up. But relative to the other things in the park, you know, a cement pad should last a really long time. So it's kind of a one and done sunk cost. So you know, we would appreciate you guys thinking about that and putting some serious thought around trying to get to that in the next, you know, year would be great. I don't know how many people signed your petition.
Yeah, we started a petition and I sent it around to citizens of Guthrie and other people that just love pickleball. I got over, I believe it was like 111 signatures on it. And the current issues with the court that I have listed are going to be surface damages, all the cracks. It's kind of, it was fine at one point, but every time it rains, it gets worse and worse, and it seems almost like a noticeable difference every time you get there. And it's kind of, you wonder every single time, every serve, you're like, is your serve going to hit a crack?
Well, they do. We just play around.
Yeah, we
play
do.
through it. And we kind of laugh about it.
Yeah.
You know.
There was one point we stopped counting those points, but now it's just part of the game.
It's part of the, yeah.
So we got surface damage and, like we said, the limited space, not a lot of space, and then the lack of proper netting because they're about a couple inches too low. And there's some courts up in Edmond called Kicking Bird, pickleball courts.
Come here.
those are regulation nets. And whenever I first started playing up there, like consistently every serve was right into the top of the net.
Yeah.
So it was like I'd been calibrated to the incorrect size of the
If you go somewhere else,
net.
you have to relearn a little bit of memory and raise
Exactly.
your shot up. Yeah.
And then the lighting is very, very faulty right now. So, I mean, we'll have times, I mean, it's getting dark at like 5 o'clock right now. So we get off work, want to go play some pickleball, and then we try to turn on the lights, and it's kind of a hit or miss if they turn on, and then
Takes a long time for
them to come on. And then whenever they are on, it's kind of one side of the court's way better than the other, and you're left fighting which person gets the side of the court. So our proposed improvements would be installing permanent regulation size nets and completely resurfacing the existing courts. So like a complete, like Jen was saying, a foundation.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to resurface it.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but.
It's, I mean, there's places where you can stand and then step down. So it's like, you'll probably have to like completely redo the foundation to something that's more permanent and playable, safe.
Similar to the basketball courts.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be
That's
awesome
great.
if we could do some sort of like expansion, like maybe add more courts. Or one thing that I talked to a couple people about is possibly having Mineral Wells as all pickleball and then moving Highland as all tennis, which is just an idea, but I think it would be cool. And then, yeah, I mean, other than that, community impact, which would be awesome because we have people at Kicking Bird that don't play down here because of the cracks and everything. So I just think it would be really cool for the community to have something that everyone could do. Families could come and join and play, and it'd be awesome.
Everyone loves the park. You know, the trees, it's just gorgeous, and to play outside, everybody loves that. But the pickleball courts are a little ghetto.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it.
And dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are.
Well, I think we have we can actually jump down to the staff report regarding the pickleball courts. Just to go ahead and, I think we have a response to that from the city. Staff, I don't know if anybody
Okay,
would like to
yeah, I
speak to
can
that.
go ahead and take that. I'll just go ahead and run through our staff report if that's okay. And I think we had a request for an update on Highland Park Pool to provide you guys with that. So the city's contracted with GH2 architect firm. We've also contracted with Crosslands as the project manager. for the project. We've had the geotech and the surveying. It's all been completed. And currently the architect and Crosslands, they're all working together in the design phases and the budgeting, trying to stay within what our budget is, somewhere right around that $1 million to $1.5 million. And those funds are coming from our recent extended sales tax, for everyone that don't know. That process really consists of going through and evaluating our existing facilities, seeing what can structurally be reused, or what maybe needs to be completely tore down and rebuilt. Is kind of some of that process that those guys are all looking at. We've got also a oversight committee that oversees all of these projects, including not only the pool, but water tower rehab, West Side Booster Station. So there's several projects that's funded through this extension of our sales tax. That oversight committee is overseeing all of that. We are still on schedule for hopefully summer of 2026 for an opening.
Question, do you know if this architect firm is going to take into consideration the style of things, the Art Deco that's there already, to keep the sign because it's like a historical piece of it? Are they going to try for that?
Absolutely. Staff has brought that up to them,
Okay.
the sign specifically, matter of fact. That's on the front of the building. Main thing that they're looking at too is, the structural parts of it, to make sure the integrity of the structural pieces is there, the foundation, and then when we get to that that side of things, absolutely, staff shared our concerns with that.
Good.
Do you know, are they looking at actually putting in a new pool, or was it leaning toward the water feature situation?
It's a little bit of a mixture.
Okay.
Pool with, I think, zero depth entry. Some of the things that we've mentioned to them is zero depth entry. There is, I believe, a few as you come into the pool, possibly could be some water features at that zero depth entry as you come on into maybe a more pool setting type area.
Something similar like what a Pelican Bay, like when you're walking in and they have, is that what you would compare
Yes.
it to? Okay.
So with that zero depth entry, sorry, too late. With that
Like a
zero depth
beach
entry,
type.
it's you're gonna have a pool, but that ADA accessibility
It's
is
required.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
prime goal there.
Yeah.
So you'll have those sprayed features, but then you get down into the pool after you meet the slope and the grade.
Gotcha.
That's required.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To move on to our Mineral Wells pickleball
Tammy,
courts.
can I
Yes,
ask a
ma'am.
question? So is there the thought that maybe that building could be saved and utilized?
At this point, I don't really have that answer because we haven't heard back yet fully on,
Okay.
the structural engineers
Okay.
after they've done all their studies and
Got it.
stuff with it.
Okay.
So.
But the goal primarily is to save the building and to reutilize that building as much as possible would be the primary goal, unless the structure isn't sound.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we've got a really strict budget to try to stay within. I mean, $1 million to
It's nothing.
1.5 is really
Tight.
a tight budget. So absolutely, we're going to try to look at saving
Good.
what we can, but yet utilizing funds to the best of our ability.
Okay.
Efficiently.
Yes. So
Are we trying to get it all done within one, or would this be something to look at into doing in phases?
we have considered future phases. If we wanted to expand, we've kept that into consideration on how the first pieces are being done. So if something in the future, if it grows and expands or whatever, and we do see that we need to expand to some sort, we've tried to keep that into consideration too.
But we will be able to teach kids how to swim.
Yep. We've part of the oversight committee and involvement has been with the YMCA too. So, they run our pool and we've been listening to them and all their activities and stuff that they do. So to try to meet all their
Awesome.
needs as well.
Camp,
Very good.
swimming lessons.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Any other pool questions?
Do we know how deep the pool part will be?
Gosh, Eddie, do you remember our last meeting?
I think it was right at 5 feet, maybe a little deeper.
A little bit
It's
deeper.
not very deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no diving board, which
No.
maybe
Okay.
that's better not to have
We
one.
don't, yeah.
In
For
general.
insurance purposes.
No diving.
Yeah.
And
No
Slides.
diving.
You could still
Slides are okay.
Yeah, you
Covered
can't
slides.
stand there. But,
lapse.
well,
We have looked at on the deepest end of the pool, possibly trying to maybe add in a slide of some sort, so
Good.
that there's some amenity on
For
both
older
ends,
kids. Good.
as well as having the pool
Yeah, 'cause I
part.
think the pool park in like at the Kingfisher Park Center, for instance, they have a slide and it's only about 5 feet, I think, in that part too,
Mhm.
where the slide is. If you guys have been there,
Yep.
have you?
But yeah, a slide is really good because it attracts older kids, which in our town have nothing to do except play pickleball on cracks. So.
Okay.
So,
All right, we can
okay.
continue.
To move on, the Mineral Wells pickleball courts, staff has been already been evaluating. We've kind of heard some of the concerns already, and I appreciate you guys coming in and sharing more of your concerns with us. It's good to hear that. We've been evaluating several different options of the pickleball court improvements, anywhere from a completely new 8-court layout to possibly just trying to do a retrofit of the existing, maybe moving all the tennis over to Highland. I mean, we're looking at all these options, consisting of maybe even just having to do smaller portions to kind of start with, as far as maybe more of a more permanent netting system. Steven shared some quotes with us. We tried to include those numbers in some of our budgets as we've looked at this thing moving forward. City staff is fully aware that it's a growing sport. I think you're absolutely correct. It's probably one of the fastest growing sports right now, from what we've seen, and we're continuing to explore how we can fit improvements in our budgets. We do. I just share this part with you guys. Our guys fight vandalism nearly monthly, if not sometimes weekly, and it's not uncommon for us to, these guys to come in here and it may be the bathrooms one time, and the next month you show up and the first thing you hear about is the pickleball court nets are all torn up, so we do have that, unfortunately, here. We just simply try to respond as quick as we can and get things back up and functioning to the best of our ability with what funds we do have. Our main goal is to continue to provide as many amenities as possible going forward for the community. I can tell you our budgets, I've seen numbers anywhere from, if we looked at probably a full, complete, new 8-court expansion rehab to the facility, anywhere from $400,000 to some of our options are down to things of $6,000 if we just wanted to take, like your quote for an example, and just to get new nets up. So it ranges. I mean, to resurface, depending on what type of resurface we wanted to do, if we wanted to just go in and remove the asphalt surface that's on top of the old concrete surface that's down there, you're probably looking at somewhere around $36,000. I mean, it's all over the place, but we have been exploring it. I please be patient with us, and hopefully we'll get something figured out that'll fit within our budget for you guys. We brought pickleball in I think it was 2017, and that was done through our very first sales tax. And including the basketball court, that project was just under $300,000. So, to think about it now,
Double it. Yeah.
$400,000 is really, if you think about what we spent then and where we're at today. So we have been exploring that, and I appreciate you guys coming in and sharing your concerns with us.
I would like to say to that, Tenny, I do appreciate you and JB working on those courts and trying to figure out the best plan, both short term and long term. With the nets being fixed now and putting those caps on the rebar, I think does help prevent some of those problems short term. Sure. But I think as we figure out the long term solution on how to accommodate everybody, I think that would be. We just appreciate that, and I think we acknowledge that.
Well, we appreciate that, and again, we'll continue to explore on our side of options that we can try to do.
I would just add a comment there too, talking about tennis being at Highland. I see the tennis course used a lot during tennis season, but living right next to it, I see them hardly used at all.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a viable option to
Good.
just have
That's good to
tennis
know.
at Highland.
It's
Yeah.
good to know. So, appreciate that.
Can I ask a question?
Typically, it's not the time for public comment. Yeah, thank you.
To move on, so there was a couple grants that we had heard about. We had shared with, I believe, maybe Stephen, I believe Shelby had shared them with you. Staff has kind of looked into these grants, both being through the Urban and Community Forestry Department. One is the 2024 Urban Community Forestry Grant. It is a grant that maximum grant award of $10,000. Staff is trying to currently do a little bit further looking into this grant. I know we worked hard today and just about have it actually completed. We're trying to possibly blend this grant opportunity with one of our residents had donated 9 trees. We haven't planted those yet. We're starting to go into the fall season, and would be down in the downtown area there by the pop-up shops where it was originally discussed. So we're trying to see how we can blend that grant with that tree planting.
Question? Is that grant, from what I understand, a matching grant? That we have to have matching funds with
It
them?
is. It's a 50-50 matching grant, meaning we would have to come up with $5,000. This grant specifically can be, a portion of that can be done with in-kind labor. 20% of it is can be done, put towards the actual planting of the trees. So 20% or $1,000 of the 5,000 of ours. But I think we've came up with enough in-kind labor as far as going down and making the planter boxes, a little bit of concrete pouring to put in place, and then your mulch and water bags and stuff, everything that goes along with it to keep these trees alive. So we're hoping to get that grant submitted. It's a very, very short window from hearing about it. The deadline is the 29th. So of this month. I think we'll be ready to submit the grant probably tomorrow. So that is an opportunity that's coming up. We do have another grant. We just simply have not really been able to dig into it very much. It's deadline for that grant is March 29th. We've got some time to look at that one yet. But again, staff's been really busy trying to just simply get to this one. That's the deadline's the 29th of this month.
I think that's great to hear that y'all really, I mean, that might be the fastest grant writing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Shelby's been very busy.
She rocks.
So
Shelby is amazing.
Yeah, from what I
also has been very.
From what I understand, the March grant, the paperwork is not even set out yet.
Yeah,
he said, when I talked to Riley, he said the meat was the same, basically. It's not. The $5,000 grant, or $10,000, can some of that, I can't remember, can some of that be used to go to tree inventory as well?
It could. I mean, with this close of a deadline, going out and seeing about its software for tree inventory software is a part of it. We looked into this short of a notice and window. It was really kind of difficult. So we just kind of took the opportunity that we kind of got working and try to make that money go a little further.
Yeah, I noticed, he probably said the same to you or when you talked to him. Riley did say that we have a step above some other people being a tree city. That adds points to us already for those grants.
Yes, anytime any of this type of stuff, and even as we're going to talk about here in the future about the tree planting, any of that stuff that we do goes towards our tree city, and any of the tree trimming and removal and plantings that our parks department does, every bit of that's documented, and Shelby gets it turned in, and that's how we qualify for Tree City. So,
which gives us more points towards the grants.
And the software is something we could potentially apply for in the next grant. That's due
exactly.
It could be as we get into it. I think it would be important that I share this, though, that we need to really be or take into consideration how many grants we apply for, because our budgets, the way they work. I mean, October's when our budgets are put in place, and funding is always limited. But we will definitely try to make funds go as far as we can.
This other grant, though, is not a matching grant, correct?
I have not, to be honest with you, I have not looked into it.
I think that he
at
said
all
it's
hardly,
not.
so
Yeah.
I have it right
Yeah.
here. So
He said it's a result of the Inflation
Reduction
Reduction
Act.
Act.
okay,
So,
we will definitely look into it and see
Right.
what maybe
Thanks.
guidelines
and
are
whatever we
and
can do
stuff
to
like
help,
that.
let us
So,
know.
with that, JB, do you want to kind of update the board on just some of your daily activities that we've got going on and maybe some upcoming events?
Well, so I don't know if you've seen, we've been in the park. We try to go blow off your cords today. We've been in there trimming trees. We haven't, so we've been on the dams. I think you all know that. We're finally getting a break off of them so that we can get in the parks. And so we've been at Mineral and Highland a little bit. We'll be doing a whole lot more, getting around the trails and everything. Trying to keep up with like those leaves. I know they've been there for a while. You know,
It's a never-ending battle, so we appreciate any and all
let's see.
help there.
So we've been in the cemetery raising military markers for the Wreaths Across America. We are now at 746 have been raised
Nice.
Wow.
today, and that is amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
2 guys have done that.
Wow. Wow. Bless you.
Let's see. In Mineral Wells, we also done repairing the split rail fence. I already told you, clearing brush in Highland. The flats, you know, the Very Merry Christmas is going on, so we've been down there. We've helped them a little bit. We got to trim some trees, haul off brush, fix fence, stuff like that. We recently done the trick or treat. I don't know if we had a meeting before or after that, so I put it on here. Let's see. Highland Hall, we are currently having to make repairs to the water runoff system in front of the door. It's trying to go in the building, so there's just what else, the door is messed up, so we're having to repair that. Just lots of stuff we're having to work on. I think that's it right now I got for you.
Very good. There's a lot of events coming up, so moving into the holiday season. So.
It's exciting.
Indeed.
Okay, if that concludes the staff report. All right, we will move to agenda item number 4, which is introduction of our new member. Eric Riddle. So welcome, Eric.
Thank you very much.
I think you informally met everybody, but we can go through real quick and introduce ourselves from the board and the staff side.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm Aubrey. We all know we already met. This is actually only my second meeting, so I'm pretty new too. I lived in Guthrie and grew up and graduated from here, and I run the American Eagle title closing office here.
Awesome.
Martha, we know each other. And I've lived here, going on 4 years now.
Exciting.
Joey Brown, Park Superintendent.
Tenny Maker, Public Works Director. Been with the city for close to 30 years. Grew up in Guthrie my whole life. So.
Tim Poindexter, I've been here 16 years. Grew up in Edmond.
Carol side. Eric is a dear friend, so I'm laughing. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Stephen Harrison. I've been here for about 3 years and love the parks and excited to see more trees go in. So welcome to the board officially.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Eric Riddle. I've been in Guthrie for about 5-6 years now, I think, living in the White Peacock for a while, and now in a nice little rental property off of North Park Street. I've loved the parks, use them every day pretty much right now. I'm working towards running a half marathon, so I'm using the trails considerably, and maybe pickleball one day if she can really push my arm for it. So yeah, she'll push hard enough. She'll get what she wants. So yeah, I work in technology. I work from home. That may change in the near future, but most of my time is here in Guthrie. So it's been a real joy to get to be here and to get to be a part of this. Thank you all for having me.
We're glad to have you.
Welcome.
Yeah, glad you're with us.
Very cool. All right, we will move to agenda item number 5. Discussion and update on the Green Team tree planting in Mineral Wells Park and planning the spring 2025 Arbor Day events. So I will jump on that one. We had a successful tree planting a couple weeks ago.
Still alive.
It's still alive.
He's been bringing water out there and watering.
A couple buckets every few days between JB and I. JB's
Yeah.
been able to mulch in. I
Thank
really
you,
appreciate,
JB.
Yeah, we really appreciate all the help.
I
Um,
think that
Yeah, and the rain is also helping, and so it's exciting to get a tree in that spot. We appreciate Aaron coming out and taking the photos of it, and we're excited to check those out. And as far as our next event, we will be planning possibly a Highland Park event. It's all very preliminary, involving tree plantings, maybe painting the sign there, refreshing the sign, talking to y'all, kind of figuring out what y'all think would be helpful over there. But I think this time, kind of angling around Arbor Day, that last week of March, and doing a bigger event, maybe doing a full park clean, having little groups go through and clean up, and possibly doing a disc golf tournament to raise funds for the playground there to help kind of start putting some money towards that. I think we agree that could use some love there. But we'll talk more about that from the green team and the staff side. Yeah, if there's any ideas on that, we can talk more about that later. But that's kind of where that's shaping up.
Awesome.
The goal is to make that a really big event, make it a kid-friendly event, face painting and food trucks, and so we'll plan some of that. Yeah.
When is Arbor Day?
It is the end of March. The 29th, I do believe, is that Saturday.
Okay.
But we'll plan that out too. Okay. It's like Arbor Week, I think, in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I remember that in the seminar they spoke at and that's usually the last week of March.
Isn't it April 25th?
I think that's the national.
Okay.
But it varies depending on where you are in the country.
Okay.
So for Oklahoma itself, yeah, it's that last week of March is the week, and then that last Saturday is, I think, the 29th. But we have a couple days to figure that out.
Perfect.
And then we'll go from there. Anybody have any questions or comments about the green team or that event? I appreciate everybody coming out, all the members who were there. It's cool to see the kids and get them involved and get them dirty, and it'll be fun to see them grow up along with the tree, and they'll appreciate that tree when they were that size.
They're painting too.
Yes, exactly.
What, Aubrey?
Want to put them to work painting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. All right. Any other comments? No? All right. We will move on to agenda item number 6, discussion on the disc golf tournaments in Highland Park and an update on the ferry houses and replacing them.
Okay.
Martha?
That would be my time. I guess I just have a question about the disc golf tournaments when they're actually organized and you know about them. Do they have some type of contract at all? My concern is that I see things left by the disc golf tournaments, like arrows painted on the trees in spray paint, and I don't appreciate them. I don't appreciate, going back 2 weeks later or a month later, 2 months later, and seeing, painted things on the trees. And I know what JB's X's are to take down the trees. It's not that. So I have concerns about that. Some of them use ribbons and they try to get all of them, but they don't always get them all. So there's ribbons or there's torn ribbons that are, so debris or the painting on the trees is my concern. And I didn't know if they had some type of contract saying when you're done, you have to make sure that
they do fill out an exclusive use app, and I can get a hold of Jessie and tattle on them, and she can talk to them.
Okay.
Definitely. I didn't realize they had been painting on the trees. I knew some of them paint the ground for like out of bounds and things of that nature.
They did paint trees, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely look into it. We have
it just doesn't look so great. Sure.
We can definitely get a hold of them.
Yeah. So that was what I was concerned about with the disc golf. With the ferry houses, Stephen and I have talked about that maybe the Arbor Day, when the green team's out and we have other volunteers out, that might be an opportunity to put the ferry houses back up at that point. I don't think during the wintertime is a good time to install them. There's just not enough people in the park, walking the trails. So, we sort of think that's a good idea, and that we could have a lot of maybe advertisement about that, and that might help detour those that like to tear things up. My other thought is, and I talked about Stephen this, I don't know that it will make a difference. Now, there will be a covering right here where the ferry is actually stuck. I think I have, that one probably has it.
It does.
But if somewhere on it I could use my little wood burner and put Guthrie, City of Guthrie, or something like that, if that might be an additional, adherent, something to prevent them from taking it if they're taking something that says that belongs to the city. Don't know, might. I know that it was discussed that maybe we need to put more cement. I just need a way to, I used a garden awl, on my drill. It's very difficult to get them close enough to the trees without hitting the roots. So, I could use some people thinking about that, how to do that. I really can't think of any other way to install them without injuring the trees other than the stakes down, which I need more stakes.
We can come up with those.
Is there a way to do a shallow but anchored?
I'm sure we can do something. When we get a date set, staff can definitely help and come up with some better solutions to maybe secure them a little bit better. I think also we again advertise the placement of these things and get the word out so that people know that
they're there.
It's an actual thing and
they can keep an eye out if somebody is doing something they'll know they're not supposed to.
I think that will help tremendously as well. So.
I have one other question to the board. Tinny's. Oh, okay. You already moved it. Good job. Tinny's mom was so gracious in making these. She did decorate them some seasonally though. Like there's some decorated like Christmas, and I gave her the picture of the fairies, which for those of y'all that haven't seen what it looks like. So the fairies are already printed. I did a double printing of them, had a double printing, and they're on like a sticker that would go on a boat that could last 5 to 7 years. And they all have little bios. These were done, for those of you who don't know, by the high school art class. Designed, and they wrote their little bios. So they're not really like a seasonal kind of thing, like Christmas. They're fairies, like woodland fairies. So I didn't know if you all felt like it really doesn't matter, just use the ones that look like Christmas too, or if I should try and change those.
I think you do.
Fairies like Christmas too.
I think you do. However, Martha, you
So y'all are leaving that one up to me.
If you need help doing something, we're all here for you, I believe. So.
Okay.
Tinny, we appreciate your parents on
helping
Yeah,
out.
definitely.
that is just precious.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of them are like that one over there that are sort of generic.
I really didn't intend them to be decorated. I gave them with the task of just cutting the boards out, but she took it further. So.
And that's fine.
Sweet.
And that's fine.
Mama don't.
Yeah. And I'm thankful that they did, so I didn't have to ask the Job Corps again. So anyway, if you all are agreeable with looking towards Arbor Day to install those, we'll work towards that then.
Great idea.
Does that work on the staff side and city side?
It will work.
Make it work.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think
And
that
then
might,
the green team will all be there too?
correct.
So we can help too?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it would be a great time to kind of reintroduce the ferry doors and houses back to the public
Right.
with a big event there and
Right.
have a whole
With
bunch
kids
of kids.
and families there.
And I think
Right.
we're in early stages of talking about it all, but possibly doing like a scavenger hunt involving those doors, so that way the
That would
kids
be
are
great.
like pretty much
Yeah, that would be
guaranteed to go
great.
there. So.
I did want to comment too that it was mentioned at the meeting that I was not here that maybe they should be moved in different areas than they were before. My comment is a graphic designer made the map, and it was not a cheap thing to do. So unless someone is willing to volunteer the money for that,
Because Martha paid for this.
they
up
need
on
to
top.
stay
That
where
makes
they are. Okay.
I think that they're in good places.
Yeah. I mean, we tried to make it where they weren't super visible.
They got vandaled, but that doesn't mean that they'll get vandaled every day.
Sure.
We might get lucky and a year go by and nobody.
Well,
touches them.
I still have 4 out there.
And
that they haven't found yet.
kind of as I shared, I mean, it's just something unfortunately we're faced with here,
Yes, at all the parks.
tomorrow it might be at Guthrie Lake. We just don't
Sure.
never know. I mean, and we see anything, guys. I've shared with you about every board meeting. We've seen situations where the sinks are ripped completely off of our walls in the bathrooms, or it may just simply be they toilet paper the bathroom, or we may show up and we find out that the pickleball court nets are flat on the ground.
Yeah.
We never know, unfortunately. All we can do is keep going right back at them and getting stuff back up and functional as quick as we can for everyone. So
we appreciate it. It's a never-ending battle.
We
but-
do. Along with everything else you do.
All right. If there's any other discussion on the disc golf tournaments and or the ferry houses. Okay, we're all good. We can move on to agenda item number 7, discussion and possible action to return the Parks and Urban Forestry Board meetings to the City Hall. I think Tim, you might have introduced that.
Yeah,
if you
that's
want
right,
to
yeah.
speak to that.
Well, City Hall is traditionally where you have meetings like this. It's where it used to be. It's
Okay.
in the heart of Guthrie. It's more steaming to have it City Hall.
Okay.
More room, certainly.
Or,
Are we talking the main chambers or just in a room somewhere?
Well, either that it was in chambers before, but it could be upstairs. Whatever's available, whatever.
Okay.
If we want to do it wherever.
Tenny, what's your thought?
I can share. I tried to put together some pros and cons. He's correct. They used to be up there at City Hall. We moved them out here about the time I took over, I believe it was. The few things that I've seen as far as pros would be scheduling. We're proud of our facility out here. We like to see use of it. It's simpler for scheduling. Whether we are on the 3rd floor conference room, planning conference room, council chambers, other meetings that might be taking place, it was just simpler for us to schedule out here. Then I'm also, security of City Hall. I'm unlocking that facility, and then whether we're on the 3rd floor, the whole building's open. Security of City Hall was always a concern to me. I have to clear that thing, make sure everybody's out of it, whether it's just us or someone off the streets that come in. We're a little bit less formal, so I felt like, the setting out here kind of fit that environment. Again, availability to resources. If there's meeting or questions that come up throughout the meeting and then after the meeting, it would be a lot simpler for me to get you guys those answers at a quicker response. And then, the ones that's been on the board, normally we don't have that much public participation. It's good to see and hear from you guys. But normally we don't. It's normally just us that's meeting, and there is other boards. Our library board, they have their meetings at the library. The airport board has their meetings at the airport. Fire chiefs meetings, they have them at the fire station. So other boards do. It's not that we're doing anything different from any of the other boards. One thing, Aaron does have to come out and set up the camera out here. I think Aaron kind of enjoys that, maybe, and gets him out of the office a little bit sometimes. But another thing that I think that'd be important that we need to keep in consideration is our council just approved our meetings, I think this Tuesday.
That's right.
So every bit of that if changes are made, we would need to probably take that, and council would have to change all that again, redo it all. So, honestly, I've shared with you my thoughts. I don't have, one way or the other. I just figured, I told Steven I'd leave it up to you guys, and you guys can decide and vote how you feel.
okay. Well, that's definitely insightful on, your perspective, and I appreciate that. It definitely sounds like there's a lot there that there's a lot of benefits to doing it here. I open it up to the board as far as any other thoughts or concerns about that, or what y'all think.
I don't have a problem with it being either place. I don't have a problem with it being here. I can see that if we continued to have guests or more guests at one point, we might want to relook at it at that point. But, you know,
Okay.
I would certainly say continue to have it here.
Okay.
And I would make that motion.
Okay. So we have a motion. Well, I think the possible action item is to move it to City Hall.
Oh, okay.
So that would be the motion.
So I could move to not.
Well, we can
Or
ask for a
just
motion.
ask for a motion to move it to City
Correct.
Hall and just.
And then just vote
Vote.
against it if we
Okay.
don't want it.
Okay.
So is there a motion to move to City Hall? Okay, I've got a motion. Is there a second for the motion?
Second.
Okay, there's no second. So the motion fails.
No.
No, I
Martha
said
said
second.
Sorry.
I said second.
Sorry, we got a
Yeah,
second.
second.
All right, we will go and vote. Hold the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, or
Opposed.
not all opposed, say nay. Nay.
Nay.
I think that's 5-1. Okay, 5-1 fell. And I think that's something that could be addressed again if, like
If
you
need
said, if there's
comes up.
more
Sure.
people showing up, and I think move on over. Okay. That is agenda number 7. We've done the staff report. If the board has any comments or questions, now's the time. No?
Is Eddie going to share anything?
I have nothing to share.
Just an observer.
You just came.
Move to adjourn.
Yes, we'll move to adjourn.